welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline. This is our final show before Christmas, so I want to wish everybody Merry Christmas. Hope you have extra time off with a long weekend, and we're going to start Pittsburgh Sportsline right now. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. We got Chip the Prophet Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier. I want to thank everybody for watching our show on Comcast 7 locally in Bethel Park. Also, Verizon 32 in Bethel Park. And you can also watch us all the way from Nemacolin to Cranberry, Wexford, the city of Pittsburgh, and all the surrounding areas that have Verizon. So thanks for our new listeners, because some people are telling me they listen to the show while they do work. So I said, as long as you don't tell me it's radio, it's Smoking Jim. I probably met 30 new people and friends, and the record is intact. 99% of the people say, where can I tune into your TV show? I mean, your radio show. I'm trained on the TV show. But they all ask, even people that I say public access TV. So thanks for watching us. If you're listening while you're doing work another day or even tonight or whatever you're doing, eating, like the Chief, you know we're on TV because you're watching us. So we appreciate it. And thanks for watching us, wherever you are. It's greatly appreciated, like I said. And we're thankful out of the BP TV studios. They also have a page now. Dave Cable put up BP TV. It's all capital letters. You'll find out more about our shows and stations, so make sure you like it. Smoking Jim, did you like that yet?
I don't think first I heard of it. I think.
No, I invited you to like it. You did already.
I got
Chip liked it.
280,000.
That's no excuse, because the most current one, for all you people that use excuses like Smoking Jim, the most current one is the first one you'll see. So you can't go by that. But I invited both of you to it. Chip, I think, liked capital BP TV.
I'm going to have to do it.
You have to check it out because, we appreciate it. And we're going to start our sports show. But I first want to thank everybody. We hit a brand new high. 5,051 likes.
Wow.
That's the best. We appreciate it. Jim J, you got to get a few more friends that like us there. But we appreciate what you've done so far. Thanks for checking us out. And we're going to start with what we always do, what's on your mind. Now, we missed the show on Monday night, so I'm going to dedicate this to our sponsor for what's on your mind, normally on our location shows, Skeets Lewandowski's, and it's his Skeets service station. And then I don't have anybody here with us, so I don't know if Devin can pull this up. I'll maybe wait till Jack comes in. But thanks again to Olive Oil's Pizzeria. I got to take another bite. This is just fantastic. And that hoagie we had, I think it must have dropped on the floor because it disappeared. It's gone. Oh, wait, there's one bite left. Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And if you want the green,
you
got to see.
Hold it, you're wearing the green.
That's it. I tell you what.
Now we got the red and the green right here. We're
Merry Christmas.
Holiday bookends,
And sometimes you wear the yellow shirt, so that'd have been perfect.
And I didn't get the memo.
You know what? I didn't send a memo out because I never even know where he is, if he's going to make it on time.
Does this count as Antonio Brown's 17th catch, or is this still the 6th?
What's your name? Just tell me your name.
All right. What's on my mind is, again, the Pittsburgh Sportsline Player of the Week. And this week, I tell you what, when you play for Central Catholic and you play behind two of the best running backs in the state, Ronnie Jones is going to Toledo, and Emmanuel is a tough running back. And you're only 5'8" and 160 pounds, junior. But only thing you can do is be the star on the JV team. And my Pittsburgh Sportsline Player of the Week goes to none other than junior J.J. Younger, who was able to play in the state championship game this week because Emmanuel got hurt. And he only rushed for 14 carries, 184 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So remember that name for next year.
Hold him again.
Little tiny 5'8", 160-pound junior J.J. Younger. And bided his time on the junior varsity. And my Pittsburgh Sportsline Team of the Week honorable mention goes to state champion Central Catholic for their 21-13 win over Parkland.
18.
18 win, thank you. 21-18 win over
Mr.
Parkland.
Trivia.
And
Nailed
the Pittsburgh Sportsline Team of the Week has to go to Southern Columbia for their 49-14 victory over Aliquippa. Congratulations, Southern Columbia. You are the Pittsburgh Sportsline Team of the Week. And that's what's on my mind.
Smoking Jim, I got to throw the official Pittsburgh Sportsline flag. I got friends and people in Aliquippa watch this show, and we're about the Pittsburgh area. You don't even know where that team's from.
Yeah.
He's on like
The southern part of Columbia, right?
He actually told me off the record that he thought they were from South America. How did they get to play in Pennsylvania?
Hey, somebody got to give Columbia credit, Miss Columbia.
Why?
Who were they funded by? Pablo Escobar?
I'm
Smoking
sure
Jim, that was all staged. For all of you people that are naive, we're talking sports, but it was staged.
Little tongue in cheek.
Who else would even, this part was for sure, but who else would even watch, what is that, Miss Universe?
Yeah,
I forgot what it even was.
yeah.
Nobody watches it.
She's famous now.
They all are.
They all are.
Steve Harvey brought them more attention than Donald Trump did in 20 years.
And you know I'm a conspiracy guy, and we will get to sports, and we'll talk about more conspiracies there. But don't worry, folks. Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
Oh, thank you, Alan. And, what's on my mind is one of our local teams. And, I think, I'll just come right out with it. The Pittsburgh Penguins are what's on my mind, what are concerning me greatly. And, last night they managed to pull out a win, minus the quote, unquote, greatest player in the game who was out with a lower body injury. The Penguins were finally able to win a game. Now, this is what bothers me about the Penguins. Now, it's fairly obvious that the coaching change did need to be made. And the coaching change was made about 10 or 12 days ago. And I do believe that they now have the right man behind the bench. It's going to take some time to get the Penguins turned around. And this is one of the things that really perplexed me about this club. And I just don't think that the Penguin management is fully vetted in this team and in this city. And, getting rid of the coach was just, putting a Band-Aid on a bleeding artery. I think it's just stemmed the flow of blood right now. And I think what they really need to do is they need to put a tourniquet on this, have some major surgery done, and fix the wound properly. And and the thing that makes me say that is I was listening to interviews today by Mike Rutherford, who happens to be the general manager. And I do honestly believe that this man doesn't have a clue as to what's going on, or he's under instructions from upper management to stay pat with the hand that he's got, and I think it's a mistake on both parts. And that leads me to this, if Mario Lemieux and Ron Burkle don't want ownership of this team and don't want anything to do with it, they need to sell it. They're not going to get $750 or $800 million for it. Take your lumps, sell it for what you can, get somebody in here that's got interest in turning this team back into a winner. The general manager came up with a statement because of all the criticism that Sidney Crosby's getting for not scoring any goals and not shooting the puck or anything. And he said the reason why Sidney Crosby is not scoring is because the power play is underachieved. Okay, that sounds like a pretty logical assumption, but the only problem is that Sidney Crosby is the starting center on the first power play unit, and he's part of the problem, not part of the solution. So, one did not cause the other. I think it's more the other way around. But, here's what the problem is with the Penguins. We are hamstrung by deals that were made by upper management and the previous general manager, that we now have a boatload of players who are severely underperforming their contracts that we couldn't get rid of if we wanted to, because they're all signed to with no trade clauses in their contracts. So people like Chris Letang, Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Marc-Andre Fleury, and even Phil Kessel. Of those 5 players I named, the only one that's having a decent season is Marc-Andre Fleury, and he's certainly not one of the top 5 goaltenders in the league. Currently, right now, he's ranked number 13 out of 30 in the league as we sit right now. Those are just the facts. Those are statistics as they sit right now today. He's out with a concussion. Chris Letang was signed to a multi-year, huge contract. Is he ever going to play again? He concussion problems last year, concussion problems this year.
In his heart too.
Is that going to affect the play of his game? Because apparently the concussion issue has affected the way Sidney plays the game, because Sidney has not been the same player that he was prior to the concussion. Prior to the concussion, he was energetic. He was a scoring machine. He led the Penguins to the Stanley Cup in 2008, where they fell in 7 games to the Red Wings. And then 2009, he was integral in winning the Stanley Cup. But, he has fallen on hard times. And I just think that, the Penguins took a step in the right direction by getting rid of the coach. I think they need to get rid of the general manager, and they need to do something about the management, or they need to get more involved in it. But the hand that they're dealt right now, it's going to be a long and painful process, and there's a very good chance the Penguins aren't going to make the playoffs this year. That's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Chip. Hey, Chip, I can't stop eating this. Peppermint bark.
That's good.
Thanks for bringing it in. Special thanks to Stephanie. I got to take a bite. It is too good. It's peppermint bark, and it was nice to see you guys show up at Jessica Lee's Old Hollywood Christmas.
It was a great time. We enjoyed it.
Got a nice crowd. We had a great fundraiser. Is the update on that? We did film it for BPTV.
You're in trouble.
He's in big trouble. So we had some good times there. And then I got honored, and since we're a small station, it's not my station, so I wanted to bring this out.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff. I don't know if we can pull in on this, but I did win another Producer of the Year award.
Congratulations,
Thank
buddy.
you. But what I want to do is thank you guys and everybody that helps, because without all the help, I can't just do it myself. So I do appreciate that. That's one. Then I got something else here.
So you appreciate that Jim and I show up prepared on Tuesday nights.
Not always the prepared, but you're prepared to eat. And thanks again to our sponsor. Now on this one, I don't want you to laugh, but in recognition, special recognition for my abilities as the talking machine in service of the fundraising efforts for Bethel Park Volunteer Scholarship Fund during the year 2015, and also other charities that I help through our show and others. So that promos, that's one of the things we do put out there. And that's why I was thanking everybody for showing up, including co-host Chip Hayner and Stephanie, and special shout out to Katie and Tom. They also made it, and somehow, who is he down there? Oh, he's eating. He can't rebut this, but somehow he wanted to show up.
We brought enough cereal to cover for him, though.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, this was another one, outstanding volunteer service for here for this year in 2015, and supporting BPTV. So I don't know if you got that one, Devin. Thank you. Devin's a one-man show, and he also won an award for over 100 shows again. He's got a streak going on for about 6-7 years, I think.
Impossible.
It is, but he said, God bless Pittsburgh Sportsline. It's able to keep him in there. So thank you, Devin. We appreciate it. And then this last one, I'm proud of this because we put that on YouTube, and I got Producer of the Year for our online producing of shows.
Wow.
So we put out a lot. And I wanted to announce that we just cracked 501 shows for the year. And when I was here and we talked to Dave about doing a show, they had done 174 shows in October. Now they hit 501. I think people are competing with me. Not only are we doing shows, so I like it. If you have an idea for a show, if you want me to produce it, you got no problem. But if you want to come in and you live in Bethel Park, find out how to become a producer and do a show. So just go out and do that. I'm a big supporter of BPTV, and they've helped us, and it's getting the word out in the community. So I do like that, and it looks like we're a big station. And we're just one of maybe a dozen public access TV stations, and I'm proud that we can all do the job that we do, and we get to put our opinions out there. And if you really don't like Smoking Jim's opinions, I understand that, because look at how he talked about the poor Quips. They had a great season, and then somehow some team from Columbia. I don't know what's going on. But hey, thanks for listening to me and putting up with all that. But I'm pretty proud and I'm honored that I was able to do some of these things with everybody. So, and Devin said it's 5 years in a row that he's done over 100 shows. Well, we've been here 4 years doing it, so I think some of that goes in. He hasn't had to work as hard, but I don't know how he does it because he has a full-time job. He's in the military, and thank you for your service. So I want to honor you that, Devin Shea. I know you don't like photos. I don't know, maybe I have one. No, I'm not going to pull it up here. But thank you. I do have what's on my mind in the sports world. I'm glad I was wrong about my prediction with 8-8. The Steelers aren't great. And that constantly hear on TV by experts that we have the worst secondary in football is just amazing. And now they dumb down the defense so much, and Keith Butler looks like a genius. Smoking Jim, no offense to what you say about him. He actually is blitzing on every play, and it doesn't work out well. And they do give up some easy touchdowns. Like, I thought the game was over. I had to go to the award dinner at 6 o'clock. They were losing, what was it, 27-3?
27-10.
27-10 at halftime. I just went in there and left. Then I'm trying to check on the game, and they're coming back.
Wow.
So I go, what happened? And here they end up winning the game by 7 points. So I was amazed, glad to be wrong on my prediction. But here's what bothers me. There's rules in the NFL. And Steeler fans, myself and everybody else, we complain that we're being picked on. Cody Wallace saw the manhandling Antonio Brown, which I didn't think that was right. There should have been a penalty or two on that. A guy should have been thrown out. And all of a sudden, our meanest guy on the team, they say, Cody Wallace, come across like a torpedo. He come right in head-to-head on a guy, got a penalty, was not thrown out. I would have thrown him out because if you did that to one of our beloved Steelers, what are you thinking of? You could kill somebody.
No, if they did that to one of our Steelers, we wouldn't have got a flag thrown.
Well, we know that, but I'm saying what we would say. We know we're not getting the flags like we should, of course. And here's what's amazing. We're one of the least penalized teams because I was looking at it, and then I'm thinking these flagrant 15-yarders, if we had that, we would be setting a record on the least amount of penalties. And I actually think that because of the players coach we have, who doesn't care what they do on the field, doesn't care if they get penalties, will work through it, and likes the Steelers being thugs before a game, during, and after, I'm just amazed. So go Steelers. They do have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. It's a great day to be a Steeler fan. Thank you.
And I will address the issue about the excessive hits and celebration in our Steelers segment. Yes,
nice. Because
yes,
that's a pet peeve.
Because I watched the full game, and I'll touch on it then.
All right. Don't put that in trivia time.
No, not in trivia time.
It's not trivial.
That'll be in our Steelers segment.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Speaking of segments, the next two are my favorites. First one up is Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And what Chip just did in the business, we call that a tease. So people tune in for that. You don't want to miss that. Congratulations again, Devin Shea. Don't know how you do it. Over 100 shows a year. And Al Levine, the talking machine, my hero. Congratulations. Nobody follows through like you. And I've always said, best interviewer I've ever seen.
Thanks,
since
Smoking
Johnny
Jim.
Carson.
It doesn't get you off the hook for missing the award dinner, nor missing. Not only did you have Stephanie Hayner upset, Jessica Lee goes, what do you mean Smoking Jim's not here?
Let me publicly apologize to my good friend Stephanie. Also, I missed Luther's Dupree surprise party.
Same night.
A different night. And I missed my legendary high school football coach, Pete Annamarino's 90th birthday party. So I got to tighten up my.
Hold on, let's have a segment on Smoking
Jim.
Jim.
You got to talk to your secretary.
The sweetie, she quit that job. She quit that. And Brazil was the only one who was his secretary. She's never been seen before, since, during, after. So if you want Smoking Jim to show up, well, even if you feed him, he doesn't always show up. But I don't know what we can do.
Maybe she's in Southern Colombia.
She was. He heard it was fixed. So he was going there because he's a gambler. But, all right, Smoking Jim. Let's get down to business.
All right, here we go.
Chip, I need another piece.
The fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac is going back to state championship game. You cannot mention the state of Pennsylvania championship game without mentioning the one and only great Terrell Pryor. Terrell Pryor is still from Jeanette, is still the only player in state history, not just WPIL history, to not only rush for over 4,000 yards, but pass for over 4,000 yards in his career. His Jeanette Jayhawks won the state championship 49-21 over Dunmore, and they set a state record with 860 points that particular season. So congratulations to all the state championships, former state championships and present, but the greatest has to be that Jeanette Jayhawk team led by Terrell Pryor. And that's the fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
And what NFL teams he starting for now?
You knew that was coming.
You back up to Johnny Manziel.
You knew that was going to come out, Smoking Jim.
I couldn't resist.
And that just goes to show you how these guys should really take in consideration how privileged they are to have an opportunity to play, because if a guy like Terrell Pryor, who should have been a shoo-in to be a superstar in the NFL, is barely making practice squads. So some of these guys, like Santonio Holmes and some of these other guys who had it made, mess up the opportunity. Also, a new bankruptcy guy, Clinton Portis.
Yeah.
Bankruptcy.
Well, hey,
That's
just
not
to speak to
surprising.
your point about these tremendous high school athletes that don't seem to cut it once they go to Division 1A or even into the pros. And talent will get you to the show. Hard work is what keeps you there, and that's the one thing that growing up as a young athlete, they were given a lot of opportunities and advantages over other people, but their sheer athletic talent is what really won the day for them. But once they get to the upper echelons, everybody's a great athlete. There are no bad athletes at that level, and what keeps you there? It's the work ethic.
And I'm a firm believer the athletes should be treated better and special.
Right?
You just said on numerous shows, check the tape, that they're just piece of meat.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Oh,
Okay.
They are. I'm talking about in their home community. For me, as a fan, they're just a piece of meat. But as far as being treated by the community and the student body, they should be treated.
Because I tell you what, even though
treated a little
Terrell
better.
really never made it big in the NFL,
Yeah.
he's already made enough money if he invests wisely to not have to work a day in his life. But we'll see how that goes.
He did. I heard he bought a tattoo parlor.
Maybe he's following the Clinton Portis
No, he bought
path.
he bought a tattoo parlor in Ohio State, and he's giving away all the tats. And he said he got Cadillacs to give away too, and other cars. He'll be fine. All right, Chip. Let's go to Chip's trivia time.
All right. Well, my dear friend Jim Frazier has there's no love lost for Jim in the fact that Aliquippa lost to Southern Columbia. But one of the things that's going on with the WPIAL, and we really won't have the final notification as to what classes, what schools are going to be in. But, they're going from 4 classifications to 6. And teams that have been assigned to new classes, and they have the opportunity to either play up. They can't play down in class. Aliquippa is going to move up to 3A next year, and the reason why they're going to try to move up to 3A is that's going to put them back in the same conference where they'll be playing teams like Beaver Falls, Central Valley, and Quaker Valley, which are teams that have been natural rivals for them. All of those communities all surround Aliquippa, and that's one of the things that they should do. But they are not going to officially announce what schools are going to be where, probably until the end of January, beginning of February. Then they'll start working on scheduling for next year. So that's all kind of still up in the air. But that's...
Ask Smoking Jim. I heard he has an inside track on that, right?
I definitely do.
Okay.
Well, when he's told not to repeat anything, that's when he'll let us know.
But you're spot on, my friend.
But okay, so let's get to some trivia now tonight. One of Jim Frazier's favorite hockey players of all time. He scored his 732nd goal in the NHL. Jaromir Jagr, former Penguin. Actually, there's 30 teams in the league.
Bring him home.
I think he's played for 28 of them. But he became the number 4 man in NHL history with 732 goals. The 3 people that are ahead of him on the scoring list are, number 1 is Wayne Gretzky.
Greatest of all time.
894 goals in his hockey career.
Closing in.
Gordie Howe, second. Probably the second greatest player to play the game of hockey. Gordie Howe, 801 goals. And Gordie Howe is another man that played well into his 40s.
He had sharp elbows, too.
Much as Jagr is. And then the third one, those first 2 were Canadians. Jagr, of course, is a Czechoslovakian. The third one is the almighty Brett Hull, an American-born, with 741 goals. His dad was Bobby Hull, who was a Chicago Blackhawks stalwart in the 60s and 70s.
Well, Jim, you didn't start following it.
You don't even know who Bobby Hull is, you know. Yeah, but just wanted to kind of touch on those.
Where's Mario?
Thank you.
Mario is in the rank number 10. I believe Mario has 634 goals in his career.
I guess.
But let's not lose sight of the fact that Mario missed a season with
arguments
with cancer. Right. He beat cancer, which derailed his career. Then, because of his back problems, he retired and then he came back. So if Mario Lemieux would have played an uninterrupted career, I would bet you he would have gotten a lot higher, because Mario Lemieux is probably the best hockey player
sugared up
that the Pittsburgh fans have ever seen.
Yeah.
So now speaking about the Steeler game this past weekend, Antonio Brown is arguably the best receiver in football. That you can put up as equally as strong an argument to say that Julio Jones is right there with him. Going into last week's games, Julio Jones had 109 receptions for well over 1,000 yards. And Antonio Brown, even with the burden of having Mike Pitt not throw him the ball for several games this year, still has 100 receptions for over 1,394 yards. Well, last Sunday, Antonio Brown did something that has never been done since the merger of the AFL and NFL in 1970. He had his second game this year of 15-plus catches. He had 16 catches for 189 yards and 2 touchdowns this past weekend. He is the only wide receiver in the NFL to have done that since the merger in 1970. So, Antonio Brown, congratulations. Also, I remember last week I said Antonio Brown entered a classification of players that had had 3 years of consecutive 100 receptions. We made note of that. Well, he's also now among a group consisting of one other wide receiver to have 2 seasons of more than 110 catches.
Wow.
So,
Marvin Harrison again?
I believe it's Marvin Harrison. And the thing is about Antonio Brown, he is not your prototypical wide receiver. He's not 6'5".
Good point.
He's not 230, 240 pounds. Antonio Brown, he makes his bones by running perfect routes. He outworks everybody else in that team. And if you tell him to go down and run a 12-yard out, he'll run a 12-yard out, he won't run it 11 and a half yards.
Good point.
And, and if you see it a lot of times in football games, when quarterbacks are throwing interceptions and it looks like, well, who are you throwing the ball? They're throwing the ball to where the wide receiver's supposed to be.
Good point.
And that's something that Antonio Brown has seemed to master. So I can't say enough good things about this man. Does a lot for the community. So, he does some antics after he scores a big touchdown. I was really happy to see last week, while we were down and while we were making our comeback, that he didn't hurt the team with an excessive celebration because, that would have really adversely affected us. Right. And, we'll get there. So, Antonio Brown, congratulations. 116 catches on the season, 2 games left. Ben at the helm. Ben and he seem to have some kind of chemistry, but they seem to know exactly what the other one's doing. So congratulations to him. Evgeny Malkin is on pace to lead the Pittsburgh Penguins this year with just 75 points this season. And the player that has the distinction of scoring the fewest points to lead the Penguins in a season in franchise history was in the 3rd year of their existence. Brian Hextall scored 48 points in 1970-1971.
I remember that, Smoking Jim.
I remember Brian Hextall. Jim is right there, too. He's got his autograph, I bet.
He actually didn't know there was hockey being played at the Civic Arena.
No, I think that was at the arena. That was before the Duquesne Garden. Yeah. Evgeny is on pace. He scored 2 goals last night. That's good. Now, speaking of wide receivers, Seattle wide receiver Doug Baldwin has joined Rare Company as well. Now, Doug Baldwin is not somebody that you would say is a household name. Ask Russell Wilson. He knows who he is. But Doug Baldwin has joined Rare Company with 2 more touchdown catches on Sunday against Cleveland. Baldwin and Jerry Rice in 1987 are the only receivers with 10 touchdown catches in a 4-game span in the same season.
Wow.
So that's an amazing stat.
That's an amazing stat when you think about all the great wide receivers and also the way the National Football League has gravitated to a pass-happy league. Yeah. The fact that only one other player and also the greatest wide receiver of all time, Jerry Rice, who has records set that I don't think are ever going to be broken.
Arena football beat that.
What's that?
Somebody in arena football beat that.
Is that really football?
Okay, Jim, who holds the NFL record for most touchdowns scored by a rookie? You should know this one.
Gale Sayers?
The great Gale Sayers.
Yes!
With 22 for the Chicago Bears in 1965. As a young child, I do remember watching the highlights of Gale Sayers, and he was truly one of the greatest running backs that I ever saw. Up until, I believe it may have been Kermit Alexander, blew out his knee from the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah. He was never the same back afterwards, but, he really was something, in the short period of time that he did play. I found an interesting little statistic here. This goes all the way back to December 22nd, 1991. And this is a Steelers defensive back. Do you remember Richard Shelton?
Yeah.
Do you know what significant thing he did in one game and never did ever again?
We scored 2 touchdowns on interceptions last game in the season.
He has the game of his career equaling a franchise record with 3 interceptions in a 17-10 win over the Cleveland Browns. The 3 picks were the only interceptions of his career.
Guess where he played college ball at? Liberty College.
Liberty, was that where Eric Green played?
Yeah, they played together.
And they played for Sam Rutigliano.
Yeah. Good call.
Bill Nunn probably picked them out of the pile.
I get you with Sam Rutigliano. That was the old Browns head coach.
He crushed them on that.
Okay, I remember a few, maybe a couple of months ago,
right now.
I talked about a football game, the highest scoring football games. Well, on December 22nd, 1963, the 101 points. It was the second highest game in football history. It was played between the Houston Oilers and the Oakland Raiders. Oakland beat the Oilers 52-49. Another one here for my buddy Jim, and this is one of Jim's favorite quarterbacks of all time.
He didn't recover yet from Sam
Who holds
Rutigliano.
The NFL record for most career fumbles?
Tim Worley? No, I don't know.
None other. And your
Warren Moon?
No, your favorite quarterback. Number 4. Brett Favre.
Oh, that's cold, man. I don't believe that, man.
Check it. Fact check it.
Yeah, you know what?
You got to fact check it.
I do check my facts before I put them out there.
Yeah, he researches them.
That one.
And now there are 4 players who played at least 5 seasons for the Broncos or in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Gary Zimmerman, Floyd Little, John Elway, Shannon Sharp. So that's what I got for trivia for you this week. Always entertaining. I always
No
like
Lyle Alzado with him?
Lyle Alzado was with the
Steroid
Raiders.
Hall of Fame.
No, he was more more notable for being a Raider than he was a Bronco, because I think he actually won a world championship with the Raiders. Did he not? When they beat the Eagles?
Yeah.
When they beat the Eagles, yep. They still had Ken Hendricks on the line, and Rod Martin intercepted Jaworski 3 times.
Good job.
More you got bonus trivia
Yep.
during the chipping.
Good job, man.
Smoking Jim discussion there.
I have witnessed a lot of sports in my life, and somehow it sticks.
You retained it.
It sticks.
Bill Nunn picked him up the pile.
Well, I got to do the official Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Thank you again. Give them a call, 412-831-1900. They will be closed on Christmas Day, so I don't think you can get pizza then, so order up. You can keep them in the refrigerator. Then I wanted to announce, first, Smoking Jim and I went out to, I don't know if you can pull this up, but I'll just show. This isn't Smoking Jim's horse that he owns 2%, but this is what our program looks like. Smoking Jim, I posted on Facebook.
Yes, sir.
He made his first official bet, and that was with a friend of mine who's a teller. Doesn't mean she's telling her a snitch. She's a teller at the casino, which means Smoking Jim gave her $2, and he got a ticket to win on Ashes and Dust. Well, on that night, just to set the table, we were all pretty confident there, and it was MSOA's, just a sponsored night with free food and the owners. Just a great night, and they were honoring the food bank. A good friend of mine, Peg Wilson, who's been on our show, she's the legendary leader of the Greater Washington County Food Bank. So it started snowing about 5 minutes after I got there. There was a squall coming through. It lasted for about 5 races. It was a whiteout that Smoking Jim didn't order. And he was out there. He braved the weather. He had his first interview by Jeff Zidek.
Yes, sir.
On the Meadows Racing Network, which is like Meadows Live, I think they call it. It's all over the internet. He got interviewed out on the track, did a great interview. He was on the Jumbotron, reminded me of myself a few years before.
Yes, sir.
So I took that photo and we saw it. I'll just set the race up not as well as Roger Houston, but he went out for the lead. Smoking Jim didn't notice where he was. Come past the quarter, he was still leading. Smoking Jim was so excited he didn't know where he was. They come in front of the racetrack. As you know, they pass twice. Once they come by, and then they finish there. They're the finish line. Smoking Jim saw his horse was in front with the other owners. He asked to stop the race. They didn't listen. About the 5/8 mile of the race, he goes, "Talking machine, what's going on? They're coming up." I go, "They're going to pass him." So whether he was able to run on the track, it was getting icy out there. Some horses had trouble. We'll find out more details later. But the horse finished last. So he's a good horse. These things happen when you only have them race 3 times at the track. This is part of horse ownership. So the other owners are excited about his next race. It'll be next year.
See, this is all part of the strategic plan. Jim mapped this out for him. He's lulling the competition into a false sense of security.
Well, the only thing is you can only drop them down in so many classes, and they don't pay attention to it. If you're not competitive in your class, they drop you down. So we'll see what happens next. Can't wait to hear from the SummerSlam stable trainer, Tim Twaddle. And Smoking Jim and I are going to go to his house tomorrow. I got the address, so we'll get some more details there. But we did have some fun. And at Peg Wilson, if you're in Washington County, donate to their food bank. We're going to do some fundraising with her, or food raising with her. And then I want to announce we'll be at Hollywood Lanes on the 4th of January. And here's a new flyer that we're doing at Atria's PNC Park. We'll be there on the 11th and the 25th, 7:30 to 8:30. So you'll see this a few more times. Come on out if you can on a Monday night. You're all welcome. There's no cover charge. And they're reviving Smokin' Jim, the Talking Machine Big Mouth Burger. So just wanted to tell you that. All right, let's not waste any time. I want to talk a little bit about the Steelers because I only saw half of the game. And I just saw a team that was not ready to play. And this was like a playoff game. It was their chance, defining moment to come out strong. And it didn't happen.
Well, here's the thing about the way the Steelers played on Sunday. Now, they played on Sunday. It was a tale of two teams.
And two halves.
There was a team that came up and played in the first half in the Steelers uniforms. And then the real Steelers got in their uniforms and played the second half. They were playing terribly in the first half. The offense was misfiring. The defense, I believe, Denver was 8 for 8 on third down conversions in the first half.
Yes, they were.
Emmanuel Sanders was well on his way to having a career day. And you talk about Mike Tomlin being a player's coach, and there's all these 15-yard penalties for late hits. What Cody Wallace did, even though I've watched a replay 36 times, and I laughed just as hard at the last one as I did at the first. Here's what people are looking for now. I am a person that I don't like hot dogs, and Mike Mitchell, I'm telling you what, the way he gyrates and after every play. But I will tell you one thing that Mike Mitchell has done is he's brought the hammer back to the Steelers defense.
Good point.
And in the second half, if you watch the second half, all of a sudden, the Broncos receivers' arms got shorter and
Alligator
shorter.
arms.
And they started dropping passes because when the ball was coming in, they were going like this. And they were looking at who was lining them up to be hits. So, a couple of, personal foul penalties, and then all of a sudden, you're hearing footsteps. Next thing you know, balls are getting dropped. I think that played a part into
well, that part of intimidation I understand on the defense, especially when your secondary is the worst. In football, as they keep saying, they're actually not the worst. They're next to the worst. But they keep saying in every show that you hear, they're 31st on the pass. So that's something wrong. They give up tons of yards. That's okay. They don't let them score a lot. So that's the good thing. And before the game started, most of the experts, I don't know if Smokin' Jim said it, but watch him on Championship Chase. It's unbelievable. They said that the Steelers averaged over 30 points for what now, 6 games?
That's 5 or 6 games.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they said if Denver can't score that amount, which they think they can, and here's the irony of it, they hadn't scored a touchdown. What was it, 23 quarters or
no,
23
it was the
times?
last 25 possessions.
Okay.
They had not scored a touchdown.
And then they got healed by the Three Rivers. They were all in the water. They come out on Sunday, and they started scoring like it was
scored
nothing.
4 for 4.
Right.
In the first half.
And then the more irony is 1 for 9 on third down conversions in the second half. 1 for 9. So we did have two different teams. The first one was Tomlin's team that come out like a thug. The second team was, we're going to talk to you at halftime. We're here to play football. And if you don't win this game, you do not get in the playoffs. And I think it worked.
What are your thoughts after you've rewatched the tape?
Well, going into the game, I thought Denver would win for the simple reason that Pittsburgh, I thought, was still talking about the Cincinnati Bengals the week before. I thought the Pittsburgh Steelers, their mind was still on the fights that they had with Cincinnati Bengals and everything. And I didn't think that they were focused on Denver. I thought they underestimated Denver. Denver's another backup quarterback coming in. Like you guys said, over 25 of their last drives resulted in no touchdowns. The running back was out. Their offensive line is suspect. And the Pittsburgh Steelers just rolling. Denver, their top 3 safeties was out of the game. So the Pittsburgh Steelers really didn't see a challenge. But I thought that the quarterback,
you predicted
Brock,
Denver would win.
Yeah, I thought Brock would come in. I thought he would light Pittsburgh up. I thought Pittsburgh would be flat because they were still celebrating the Cincinnati Bengals win. And I didn't think that Emmanuel Sanders would have as big a game that he did, but I thought that Daniel Owens, the tight end, and I thought that Demaryius Thomas would have big games, and I knew as long as Mike Singletary wasn't on the staff, that Vernon Davis wouldn't play very well. So, but the second half, the Pittsburgh Steelers was able to benefit from an experienced backup quarterback who got hurt right before halftime, and he couldn't put up a single point. But what do you guys think? Was that a touchdown, or was it not a touchdown on a punt return? I thought it was 7 points. What happened there?
Well, there's a couple of things. Now, they called a penalty because their offensive players started coming on the field before the play was blown dead, okay, before he scored. So that's an illegal substitution. So that's what they used. But when the ball came down, their Steelers player had touched the ball. His foot was on the out-of-bounds line. So at that point, that becomes a dead ball, and it can't be picked up and run back. So even though they kind of blew the call with the penalty, I mean, if they would have, because I watched the replay several times, and it did appear that the Steelers, whoever it was for the Steelers, his foot was just on the edge of the white. So
that's out of bounds.
Technically that's out of bounds. Would that have been the first call that the referees have blown this year? I don't think so.
It won't be the last.
Now, here's another question I have for you, Jim. Now, you've got the number one defense in the NFL. You had DeMarcus Ware, monster. His statistics for the game were 0 tackles, 0 sacks, 0 quarterback rushes, or quarterback hurries. You have Von Miller, another all-pro outside linebacker, a sacking machine, had 0 tackles, had 0 sacks, had 1 quarterback hurry. Wow. I want your opinion on what you think of the Steelers' offensive line's performance since Ben has been back after being injured.
Well, I've said all along, from the first moment that I seen Villanueva play, I said he was the best since Anthony Munoz, and everybody laughed at me because this is a guy who never played offensive line in his life. This is a guy who, it was just an early on in preseason game, but I tell you what, I've never seen anybody like this guy since Anthony Munoz. Outstanding player, and the Pittsburgh Steelers got a gritty guy. With the wideouts that they have, I'm a little tired of. I think that there's ways that the offensive line can improve. I don't think much of Ramon Foster. I'm tired of him laying on his back like a turtle.
Most turtles don't lay on their back.
Yeah, these guys talk a lot of stuff. Marcus Gilbert said he wants Cincinnati again. He didn't do nothing against Cincinnati in the last 2 times that they played. But as a team, this is maybe as fine an offense as I ever seen in my life. And in the running game, they didn't have much of a running game either.
Well, you just said too, linemen aren't really that good.
No, here's an interesting statistic, because you know how I am with statistics, right? Now, I know of your dislike for Ramon Foster. That's been well documented, and I know that you don't particularly care for Marcus Gilbert. Mm-hmm. Marcus Gilbert has only given up 1 sack the entire season. And were you aware of that?
Well, I know he was drafted as a left tackle. How'd that work out for him? Because he's at right tackle now for a reason.
But he's a tackle.
For a reason.
But I think the play of David DeCastro and Marcus Gilbert, and I know you're going to disagree with me on this, may warrant them a second or third team All-Pro selection this year. Because if you think about the work that they're doing, minus Marquise Pouncey, who's their signal caller, the quarterback of the offensive line, they haven't had him all year, and Calvin Beachum, who was good, but I think Calvin Beachum is going to be our latest Wally Pipp, because he's going to Villanueva
he'll go somewhere else and get millions.
Is playing. But the problem is, after coming off a major knee surgery like that, he had an opportunity to get locked up for a big contract, and he decided to roll the dice. Mm-hmm. And, I think the contract he signs next is not going to be nearly as good as it would have been when he signed there. So.
Well, we'll see pretty soon. Maybe DeCastro gets some votes for the Pro Bowl, but I'd be surprised if Marcus Gilbert gets some. But I think the Pro Bowl voting comes out.
It comes out tonight.
Yeah.
They come out tonight. They'll announce that who's gonna be on. And I was listening to some arguments on the radio today, and I think without a question, Antonio Brown's going to be first team.
Can I say one thing? In my draft report, and I said this early along in preseason, and I compared this guy in my draft report. Nobody ever heard of him. I compared him to Le'Veon Bell. And I said he is almost as equal a pass receiver as Le'Veon Bell. And I says running-wise and size-wise, he reminds me of Le'Veon Bell. Not as good as Le'Veon Bell, but a step below. And I think he went late rounds to Arizona. And this past week, David Johnson ran for 187 yards.
Yeah, he did.
And I think he scored in every possible way throughout the season. I think he's the only rookie to score as many different ways since Gale Sears.
Is that because of the genius?
Yeah, part because of the genius and part because he played at a small school, Northern Iowa, and they didn't do their homework and scouting.
So to get back to where I was heading with the All-Pros, the Pro Bowl. Now, obviously, I think we can all agree that Antonio Brown's first team All-Pro.
Greatest receiver in Steeler history.
No question. And they need to re-sign him, lock him up for another big contract.
I would love that.
I would love to see them do that. Because the Steelers, they gave him the big contract, not Mike Wallace and not Emmanuel Sanders. And boy, did they know what they were doing?
They did.
And you got to give Kevin Colbert and Mike Tomlin
credit on
that.
Now, what do they do next year? Don't forget, last year they drafted a receiver in the third round. Wheaton's up this year. Do you let Wheaton go and you promote the guy that's been on the bench all season long?
No, you know what? Wheaton has proven. This year, I think Wheaton is starting to come into his own. Mm-hmm. He had all the potential in the world the last couple of years. This year, I think he's showing what he can be. He makes an excellent compliment to Antonio Brown. Martavis Bryant, we still got him under contract for 2 more years after this. And you know what? I would wait to sign him. If I was going to re-sign him, I would wait until the last possible minute because you know what? He hasn't earned my trust yet.
Yeah.
Chip, I trade him. I trade him while he has value because that could blow up anytime. Anytime.
Literally.
Yeah.
So we got Antonio Brown going to the Pro Bowl.
You're right, Smoking Jim.
We got Antonio Brown going to the Pro Bowl. And obviously, I feel Ben is a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, even though he doesn't have the statistics of other quarterbacks.
Because he was pretty good,
but his injuries. But I think Ben is every one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the league right now. We mentioned possibly DeCastro, maybe Gilbert. On the defense, who do you think would possibly have a chance of making an All-Pro roster on the defense?
Nobody. Hayward may make it on name alone, but not. If you can't get the sacks that you get like J.J. Watt and those guys get. So defensively, I would say nobody.
You'd say no name defense. You don't think? Okay, I think that maybe Cameron Haywood, maybe second or third team.
How many teams they got?
Like you do, they keep adding.
They keep adding. But what do you think of the play of Stephon Tuitt this year?
I love him. Got hurt a little bit, and for first he was on fire. First 2-3 games, he had a lot of sacks. Mm-hmm. Then he got hurt, and I think teams started paying more attention to him. But until you can get that nose guard that'll take up that double team and free up one of those guys, that's what you're going to have. But collectively, I don't see anybody on the defense. Maybe 94. I don't know how many tackles he had.
What do you feel
he made
about
the Pro Bowl before?
What do you feel about the way Mike Mitchell's played this year?
I love the way he's playing, but as a safety, you got to have interceptions. I would vote for Mike Mitchell as a Pro Bowler, and I would also vote to move him to a strong safety. Closer to the line of scrimmage he is, the better. But if you don't have the interceptions, you don't make it.
John?
Well, we'll see what happens. We're down to about 5 minutes. What do you want to talk about here? Anything on your mind here that closes us out?
Well, I think I pretty much covered everything that was on my mind regarding the Pittsburgh Penguins in my opening segment.
I did want to ask Smoking Jim.
Yes,
any
sir.
feelings on the Penguins? That's enough. All right.
Yeah,
one thing I wanted to bring up a couple points. We brought up some rookies. They even scored in their first games. Then what I was impressed about is their last game, they brought the leading goaltender in the AHL up to our team. And
Murray.
he had 22 saves, but they were great saves, and sometimes they were running free like they do on our defense. Like, let him in there, and this kid was as cool as could be. And I would think Fleury may have to look back once in a while, because this kid, if they keep him up, and Fleury goes into a funk like he did a couple years ago, they're not going to have a problem. Zadkoff and him, Murray looked I know it was his first game, but he does have a body of work in the AHL, known as the best goalie.
Well, and I believe that right now the Penguins have 3 strong goaltenders. But I can tell you this: it doesn't matter if you've got Marc-Andre Fleury, Zadkoff, Murray,
whoever,
Ken Dryden, Patrick Waugh.
You're saying you have to score goals?
If you don't score goals, it doesn't matter how good of a goaltender you have. If you lose in a lot of 2-1 hockey games,
got to get better in the power play.
That's true. Smoking Jim, you're a good listener.
That's
the most profound.
You're an astute hockey fan, Jim.
That's the most profound statement you've made today.
Well, I also wanted to touch on one other thing, because I know how strongly Jim feels about Jamie Dixon, and
they're winning.
Tell you one of the things that I really like about this new athletic director for Pitt. He's a no nonsense kind of guy, and he's got his name's Scott Barnes.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You don't
well,
know.
Here's what he did last week. He took Jamie Dixon to task for the lack of quality opponents in his non-conference schedule.
Really?
Yes, he did. He called out his own basketball head coach, because here's Pitt.
He listens to Pittsburgh Sportsline.
Peterson never would have done
that.
They're 9-1, and they're not even in the top 35 teams in the country. Okay,
Really?
They're teams with 3 losses that are higher ranked than
They're
Pitt.
winning by 30 points.
Because the only team that Pitt played that was worthwhile was Purdue. And Purdue beat them. Okay,
good point.
So I mean, they played Davidson this past weekend, and they crushed them. And the only thing that Davidson is known for, okay, yep, the leading scorer in Davidson basketball history is the reigning NBA MVP. He's the only person from that school that made it, and he's the only one that ever will make it. Okay.
Oh, he's the best.
But I mean, but to be honest with you, this is one of my problems with, to a smaller degree, college football, but college basketball. Teams should have to play a stronger non-conference schedule, because, you get a bunch of cream puff wins. You win 10 or 11 games against these high school teams, and then you get into conference play, and then you end up 3-7, but you still end up making enough wins to to make the tournament.
Good point.
You need to play better quality opponents.
Jamie got good philosophy.
And then you got games that mean something, because all the games should mean something. Same with college football. All these teams that are ranked in the top 25, I honestly think that they should be playing one another, and they shouldn't be able to play. Alabama, why are they playing these schools like what is it, Georgia Southern or something like that? And they the school says, look, we're going to get $350,000. We're going to let Alabama steamroll us. We need the money, so we're going to go out there.
Well, they're not even letting them. They're actually trying. They just don't have the talent. That's part of it. There's not talent on those teams and schools, and as long as it's about the money, like you're saying, Chip, that's what they're going to do. They're going to grab the money along the way, and they know what they have to do to get into the multi-million-dollar bowl games.
So to follow the money, you guys been hanging on all those college bowl games, tonight?
Well, you know what? I can't answer that. We're almost done. Chip, we only got 20 seconds to go.
Temple and Toledo.
Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Chip the Prophet Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier. Thanks for watching our show, and stay Joey strong.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.